There exists a forgotten and dropped case in the world of criminals. Just a few weeks ago, police officers dropped the case, only after being on it for 3.5 days, being extremely close to the answer as it was. 3 months ago, at Wisconsin daycare, 2 children died at separate timings. The first child was sent into the toy room to play until his mom picked him up. As happy as could be, he ran to the toy room, closing the door behind him, taking his orange juice and cookie with him. It was only a few minutes later when his mother arrived and opened the door to the toy room to find her boy's half-eaten cookie on the shelf and the empty cup of orange juice on the floor, tipped over. That wasn't the surprising find. She burst into tears and screams at the horrifying sight. Hearing her, the babysitters ran into the room to see what she was screaming about. Right when they got in the room, they found the 3-foot body of a young boy hanging from the ceiling fan, which is right in the center of the room, no shelves reaching it. They were more scared than puzzled, so they called the cops, not questioning the logic yet. 8 feet high in the air, in the center of the room, hanging on a rope, no way to even touch the fan. The police obviously thought that the only explanation was the murderer was hiding in that very room. After asking them all to evacuate, they searched down to the very core. 2 hours in that small room, they found nothing. The only possible explanation now was that the babysitters had to have done it. The police didn't shut down the daycare because it was the only daycare around, but they did arrest all of the babysitters, and the new ones were hired within a week. The surreal turning point of the crime scene happened in the next child's murder. After sending 2 children into the toy room during recess, one of the babysitters kept an eye on them to make sure they were fine. The door closed once the babysitter was in with the 2 children. It has been a good hour, and no sound has come from the toy room at all, not even a peep. The only babysitter left was scared to open the door, so she called, "Are you guys alright in there?" Not even a second of pause between the answer and the question. A deep, deep voice replied, "No." She ran out of the daycare, screaming and crying, calling the police on her cell phone, running as far of the building as possible. They rushed over as fast as they could. The lady told the head officer nobody left the building. She was watching the door to the building the whole time. The police found all 3 bodies in the toy room. 2 were unconscious. The last one, the child named Yossi, was dead on the floor, blood drenched all over. The teddy bear was found sitting atop the child strangely. The police had no idea what was going on until they heard a murmur from the floor where the dead boy was. It was a deep, deep murmur. They kicked the body over to shoot the ground area. They found nothing, killed nothing. Once again, they assumed it was the babysitter. That was the only possible explanation, but the murmur was still on their mind. There wasn't a basement. Something strange was going on, but they couldn't explain it, so they went with the only possible suspect. Still keeping on the search, the police got closer and closer to understanding. The last day of search, they released all of the babysitters, but made sure they lived far away from that daycare. Strangely enough, on the last day, they took the teddy bear, which was said to be tested for DNA, when really anyone could understand they wouldn't need to. It was possibly the most random thing to do, taking the teddy. But after they took it, there was no recent news on it. The story just dropped. People kept silent completely, because they had heard nothing from the police. The daycare was stripped of all of its toys completely and shut down. The police ordered the hospital to pull the plug on the babysitter and the child. The demand was clearly under officials' order, so they had no choice. Were the police afraid of them talking about it? Why would they just end the investigation like that?